What is up, you guys? Today I want to talk about gas expenses for Instacart. So I've been getting a few questions on how much I spend per week on gas while working for Instacart. Does Instacart give you money for gas? Do they reimburse you? So I wanted to address some of those questions today. Instacart does not give you any type of pay for gas. They do not reimburse you. That is something you have to pay out of pocket. Typically for jobs like this, they don't cover gas. You do have to pay it out of your own pocket. The amount of money that I spend on gas per week working for Instacart or other jobs like this definitely varies. Obviously, if I work more full-time, I'm going to be spending more on gas. On average, I spend about $50 to $80 per week on gas. So if I work more part-time, I'm working other gigs, I'm just busy, I don't have enough time to invest into Instacart, I'll spend more, $50 to $60. That's usually the average. If I'm working more full-time, if I just have extra time, if I need to spend more time working for Instacart, I'll spend more like $70 to $80 per week on gas. Obviously, you're going to be driving around in circles more than you would if you weren't working this type of job. So you are going to be spending some money on gas. That is something you want to keep in mind. But with the amount of money that you make, I do think it's still a good profit. I would definitely take into consideration what kind of car you have. I wouldn't say go and buy a new car for this job, but you want something that's decent on gas. If you have a gas guzzler, if you have a car that just, the mileage isn't good, you have to spend a lot on gas, this might not be the job for you. It might not be as worth it because you are gonna be spending a little bit more on gas. For me, it's definitely worth it. I have a Toyota Corolla, which is excellent on gas. So I haven't had too much of a problem paying out of my own pocket. I do feel that I make a decent profit, especially if I make a lot of tips. So for me, that's how I look at tips. Tips to me pay for my extra expenses. They pay for gas, they pay for my tires, they pay for food or anything that I spend while I'm out working. I look at that as me getting reimbursed. So I really appreciate it when people tip, especially when they're generous with it, because those tips do go a long way. Even if I don't make a huge amount in tips, I've been making decent pay since I started working for Instacart. I think it is fair for the work that you do, the amount of time you put into it, and especially if you get tips, it just makes it even more worth it. Yeah, so it definitely depends on how much you work for Instacart, the types of deliveries that you take. If you take the ones that are far away from you all the time, that's gonna rack up your gas expense even more. So it's hard to explain. It's one of those things you're not really gonna understand unless you start working. You can try to stay in a certain area, when you're doing deliveries and stuff, but you're gonna end up driving a little bit. You're gonna travel a little bit. You're gonna put some miles on your car. That's just how this job works. You definitely don't have to take orders that are super far away, but you can't always control where the orders go. You do see all the information before you take the order. You see where you're gonna pick it up, where you're gonna drop it off, but you may shop at a store that's close and then it goes somewhere far away. And then after you drop off that order, I always suggest seeing what's in that area while you're out there. See if you can pick up another order, but if not, then you have to drive back to somewhere that's a little bit busier. Basically, it's really hard for me to give just one concrete number as far as the gas expense per week because there's just so many factors that come into play. But I will say on average, based on how much you're working, part-time to full-time, I spend $50 to $80. Also keep in mind too, as I mentioned, it depends on your car. I have a Toyota Corolla, 2012 Corolla. It's really good on gas. So if you have something that's even better than that on gas, there are cars that do better than Corollas on gas. So you might spend even less. Or if you have a car that it's not as good, you might spend more. So it just depends on a lot of things. Anyway, that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. So no, unfortunately, Instacart does not pay for your gas, but I find it's still worth it. You do make a good profit. So that's my opinion, my experience. Again, it could be different for everyone. Anyway, I hope I answered most of your questions. I hope you guys found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.